Fantasy sports. We'll start with the Padres. According to reports, they signed a reliever from Korea, Woo-Suk Go, to a 2-year, $4.5 million deal. And tonight, the Aztecs, they start conference play at Viejas Arena, 6:30 pregame, 7:30 tip versus Fresno State. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today. What's going on, San Diego? Jon and Jim on a Wednesday. Still a little messed up from the 10 days off and the New Year's on Monday. So it is Wednesday. I double checked. Happy New Year to everybody out there again. This is the last day we can say Happy New Year, by the way. Last day. According to Larry David. This is the last day you can say Happy New Year to people, I feel like.
Okay.
Because once you get to like January 5th, 4th, it's like you had plenty of time. Whoever you want to say Happy New Year to, you have plenty of time. But anyway, we start today's show. Lots to talk about today, by the way. Lots to talk about. Padres, they finally finalized their coaching staff. And they made moves. Interesting. We talked about that yesterday, about the Padres' potential closer. And hey, when are they going to make moves? You have 6 roster spots to fill. Well, they made a move. Also, the NFL playoffs taking shape. An absolutely hilarious thing that happened over the weekend with Jason Whitlock. I don't know if you saw this, Brent, but we'll talk about it. He did not know what targeted ads were. So we'll discuss what actually targeted ads are and how Jason Whitlock pretty much outed himself in one of the most hilarious Twitter posts you'll ever see in your life. But we have to start today with the Padres signing. This just happened moments ago. Joel Sherman, New York Post, reported that the Padres signed Korean pitcher Woo-Suk Go to a 2-year, $4.5 million deal. Now, the second that I saw this story last night, because Jon sent it to me. Jon is on his way back to San Diego. He'll be back with us tomorrow. He sent me the story because it was on MLB Trade Rumors. And my initial first reaction was, I'm sorry, I got to be real with you. That name,
you giggled a little.
I didn't giggle a little. I giggled a lot. I'm sorry, I just did. I'm a child, all right? Even though I'm 34 years old. But I couldn't help but say there is no way that's a real name. Well, it's a real name. It is a real name. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe the pronunciation is a little different, right? Because sometimes American accents, it just might be
lost in translation.
Lost in translation, for sure. It might be Woo-Suk Go. It might be that. No, it's Woo-Suk Go. It's Woo-Suk Go. And I think back to an Austin Powers movie. Brent, you'll probably remember this. When in the movie, he was, I don't know, fighting somebody, and he had a giant mole on his face, and he was trying to keep it together, and he couldn't keep it together. And he goes, I just need to get this out of my system. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, mole.
Exactly. Mole. I can't take it anymore. And so that's what we're doing today. To start the show, we're just going to get it out of our system. All right. Because I feel like we just have to. We can't beat around the bush here. We can't pretend that we don't think this name. By the way, fantastic name. I'm not dodging. I'm not trying to say this is a bad name at all. I think Woo-Suk Go, fantastic. So we're just going to get it out of our system, Brent. We're just going to get it out of our system. All right. So I wrote down a bunch of Woo-Suk Go puns to start the show today. And if you have any puns that you want, try to keep it as clean as possible. All right. 70470, start your message with team. What's your best Woo-Suk Go pun? Because if this guy performs, which, hell, according to reports, he's slated to be potentially the Padres closer this year, he's going to be beloved here. then Woo-Suk Go is going to be a beloved Padre. But here are the Woo-Suk Go puns that I thought of. And by the way, if you're just joining us, I'm sorry. I'm getting this out of my system now because I'm a child and I have to. So here's a couple of them, Brent. It's go time.
Yeah.
Pretty standard, simple, but probably will be used a lot. Right? It's go time. That's Woo-Suk Go, San Diego.
That one's better.
I'm trying to gradually work my way up here. That's Woo-Suk Go, San Diego. Suck it.
Yeah, very DX. That could work.
I mean, it just works perfectly. Woo-Suck it. Right? Woo-Suck it. It's very. There's so many directions you can go here. Now, the direction you would go if he happens to go in a ninth inning and blows a lead and gives up a bunch of runs. Woo really sucked in the ninth inning. You're welcome, San Diego. And the other one I thought of was just pretty simple, like watch Woo go.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. But out of those 5 that I had there, it's go time. That's Woo-Suk Go, San Diego. Suck it. Woo really sucked in the ninth inning. Watch Woo go. I'd have to say, and tell me what you think, Brent, and tell me what you guys think out there. 70470, start your message with team. Also, we are live on YouTube as well. Jon and Jim 760, find us there. And the iHeartRadio app, best way to listen to this show wherever you go. I'd have to say right now, that's Woo-Suk Go San Diego is probably my favorite one.
I think they'll just adapt the let's go, and you can just do let's effing go.
Yes, the
San Diego,
LFG,
bring it
SD,
back.
Except it's a little different. But I like the that's Woo-Suk Go San Diego. Looking on the chat here for the YouTube stream, I see a bunch of people here. Here's a good one. Screw you, Ben. He goes, Jim sucks and needs to go. I mean, I give you credit. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Dodgers suck. It's pretty good. We suck. just straight to the point. Let's go, Woo-Suk. I mean, there's just so many. Viva Padres in the chat on YouTube says, Jim's buying a Woo-Suk Go jersey. Just watch. I'm telling you guys right now, jersey.
Is it in the cart?
It was in the cart instantly. Now, the number will be a big factor on if the jersey will actually be purchased or not. But as of right now, jersey is definitely in the cart. I do not know what number Woo-Suk Go will choose. But as of right now, yeah, jersey is definitely in the cart, waiting to be purchased. It just all depends on the number. Now, the easy number, I mean, Brent, look, the easy number here is, I mean, come on, right? You know what number it's got to be, right?
Yeah, but he won't pick that. It's baseball. Nobody picks that.
Laura D in the chat says, who gives a suck?
Someone on the text line says, Jim Woo sucks at puns.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked you guys to help me out here. 70470, start your message with the team. Friar Fan 17 on the chat on YouTube says, embrace the suck. That would only be if the Padres do, in fact, suck next year.
Someone on the text line said they should play the Kurt Angle intro song.
You suck. That would
work.
That would work. Now, his name is not, I mean, it'd be bad if his name was like You Suck Go. But Woo-Suk Go is his name, and I think it's a fantastic name. I just hope that he lives up to how fantastic his name really is. And if you're looking, if you're tuning in, you're like, well, just talk about his stats. Talk about what he does. Stop talking about his name. I get it. And I have the stats here for you. So he's from the KBO. Little known fact here, Brent. He is Jung-Hoo Lee, who just signed a $116 million deal with the Giants, he is Jung-Hoo Lee's brother-in-law because he's married to Jung-Hoo Lee's sister.
Yeah, that's how that usually works. Jim fact.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks for putting me in my place there. But there's an interesting dynamic with Ha-Seong Kim, Jung-Hoo Lee, and Woo-Suk Go. They're all it's like a family affair. Because Jung-Hoo Lee and Ha-Seong Kim, those guys are best friends. So it's interesting. This Korea series here in a couple months has just gone to another level, guys. It is just. I mean, Ha-Seong Kim, I know, was already the face before. Once this was announced, but I mean, now you got Woo-Suk Go, you got not Jung-Hoo Lee, you have Yamamoto. You have Otani, Ha-Seong Kim. I mean, this is going to be just a fantastic Korean series. What are you laughing at, Brent?
YouTube chat says Sukarin Sukatash.
Sukarin Sukatash. Dude, there's a lot.
That's pretty good, JD.
Aztec J says, see Woo-Suk Go close. I probably should not read these.
I was going to say, read them in your head.
Actually read them in my head. Because as I was reading that, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God,
don't burgundy yourself."
That is a burgundy moment. Matthew just tweeted out just sent in the chat on YouTube. Says Padres just tweeted, "Ready, set, Woo-Suk Go." All right, okay. So they're on the pun train as well. So I don't feel bad about this. I thought to myself last night, I'm just going to have to say I'm a child and then get all of these puns out of the way right now and then move on. But if the Padres are tweeting out puns for Woo-Suk Go, then the puns will live on forever.
Yeah, it's like you said, get it done and out of the way so we don't have to do it all year round.
Exactly. Just get it out of your system. Even though, Brent, if this guy turns out to be good, like if he turns out to be, I don't know, Ha-Seong Kim level, but like a guy that is reliable out of that bullpen.
Then it's going to go national.
Then it will be a thing that we are going to talk about nonstop. I'm actually if John were here today, I don't think John would be spending 13 minutes to start the show on Woo-Suk Go puns.
No, he would have cut you off 10 minutes ago.
Oh, he would have. Absolutely. Absolutely, he would have. But Woo-Suk Go, 2 years, $4.5 million. His stats in in the KBO and Korean League, they're okay. They're not like crazy good. They're not Yuki Matsui good. But last year for the Twins, he had a 3.6 ERA in 44 games. All right, and 15 saves in 44 innings. He's a strikeout guy, kind of high on the walks, right? He walks a lot of guys in the amount of innings that he pitched. That's a little concerning, but if you're looking for a breakdown on his stats, from what I've read, not a scout, but from what I've read, Duke can throw up in the higher 90s, about 98, got a good split. So there you go. There's your scouting report on Woo-Suk Go. A guy that's probably going to be the back end of your bullpen. You could see a combination between Woo-Suk Go, Yuki Matsui, and Robert Suarez, either way. And Mark Feinsand was talking about this move today on SiriusXM Radio.
This is MLB TV,
excuse me. And this is what he had to say about Woo-Suk Go and the Padres bullpen.
Our John Haven reporting last night, Woo-Suk Go has now reached agreement on a deal with the Padres pending review of medical information. He is now approaching the end of his time from the standpoint of the posting window. So there is some urgency to get this deal done now. He is notably the brother-in-law of Jung-Hoo Lee, brother-in-law of the grandson of the Wind. If you're scoring at home, Harold, and I know very fond of the nickname, but he is someone that the Padres believe could fit into their late inning triumvirate, along with Robert Suarez and Yuki Matsui as well. So they could have sort of something of a three-man arrangement at the end of the game, potentially on matchups. But Go has a lot of bullpen experience, a lot of high-level experience in KBO, and the belief right now is that he is going to be a key member of the Padres' late-inning crew for first-year manager Mike Schill.
That was actually John Morosi there talking about
My bad.
the potential, dynamic with the Padres bullpen right now. And you've seen the moves that Padres have made and AJ Preller has made, and it speaks to where they're at as far as the money that they're giving out. I mean, 2 years, $4.5 million. That's literally nothing. It is nothing. But these are the types of moves that AJ Preller is going to have to make. And by the way, me and Darren were talking about this. Like, can we maybe just, I don't know, Will Holder, just maybe pump the brakes just a little bit on the quote-unquote AJ Preller masterclass offseason? He traded away Juan Soto, okay? That was by his own doings, by his own faults, cleaning up things that he put himself, the situations that he put himself in, okay? Not being able to re-sign Snell or Hader, not being able to be in on any big-time free agent this offseason. The moves, the money moves, like the moves that he's made so far as like, the years and the money, I think are good. Nothing stands out to me as a red flag. If the player does not do well, that's going to look like a horrible contract. There's not been any of that offseason. But can we maybe just pump the brakes just a little bit and see how this season pans out before we say that this offseason has been a quote-unquote masterclass by AJ Preller? Like, I mean, I'm still upset they traded Juan Soto. I understand and I get it why they had to do it. That was because they put themselves in that situation. Do we know that Vasquez and Brito and King and are these guys going to actually pan out? We don't. Do we know that Yuki Matsui is going to be in Woo-Suk Go is going to translate to the big leagues? We don't. So let's just pump the brakes. If anything, you can talk about how AJ Preller has gone out and signed pieces to the major league club for essentially good contracts because none of them are going to look bad if these players don't perform, right? If Yuki Matsui does not perform, that doesn't look like a horrible contract. Might not be great, but it's not a horrible Drew Pomeranz contract. If Woo-Suk Go does not perform, it's not going to look like a bad contract.
I want to wait and, see, fill the rest of the roster out. Then we'll start grading it. You haven't done enough to be, what did you do? You signed like 3 closers.
You did. But you had to do that.
Well, I know, but that's like his thing is, did he address the outfield yet? No. Did he address first base? No. Did he address any of the things that we've been talking about he needs to address? No. It's instead of going out and getting, 6 shortstops this year, he's going to go out and get 6 closers.
I would much rather have 6 closers on the roster than 6 shortstops.
I'd rather have an outfielder and a first baseman and, stuff we need.
That too. But again, the offseason's not over. It will be very interesting to see who he goes out and gets. I know yesterday I talked about it. There is this type of worry that I'm getting. And I think you see it a lot from the fan base now is like, hey guys, it's January 3rd and you have no outfielders. You have no DH. You have no lefty bats. You have no lefty starter. They just got a reliever. So that kind of checks off the box there. But yeah, I understand there are a bunch of different moves that still need to be made. They went out today and they got a reliever, a move that they needed to do. I think getting another reliever, they had to do it. I don't know if Woo-Suk Go is going to, perform here in the big leagues, but a 2-year, $4.5 million deal, if he doesn't, it doesn't really matter. It's not that big of a deal. But if he does perform, then that's going to look like a great deal. So there is time. We'll see where they go from here. Man, this is just, oh man, the amount of puns that are going to be talked about. Quinn on Twitter says, if the Padres suck this year, we suck. We really suck. From like the Water Boy. So yeah, there's a lot of different puns you can do. Keep sending them in 70470. Start your message with team 877-767-4760. If you want to call to talk about Woo-Suk Go or the new coaching staff. We'll dive more into the coaching staff coming up here, but there's interesting things that you saw with the coaching staff that was announced today, by the way, that was something that needed to it had to happen soon. We talked about it had to happen fairly soon. Spring training here is in a month. And you need to get guys in the building, ready to go. Every time I say go now, I think of Woo-Suk. Woo-Suk Go. You need to get a coaching staff in place. And there's some interesting things with the coaching staff that you look at and you go, okay, it's new, it's different, didn't expect that. But again, at the end of the day, are we really going to be sitting here and worried about a coaching staff if it doesn't go well? Maybe, because it is San Diego and this place is known to roll through different coaches left and right every single year. I mean, it feels like there's 13 coaches on the coaching staff now. And only 2 of them, Ben Fritz and Ruben Niebla, are returning. And essentially it's 12 or it's 11 new guys. So 11 new guys have rolled through the door. They announced it today. We'll get into that. Mike Schilt also talking about why he picked this coaching staff and the reason why you're seeing so many people on this coaching staff from inside the organization. You'll hear from Mike Schilt about that coming up next. All right, Padres announced today their new coaching staff. We'll dive into that coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres just made it official. They signed Korean pitcher Woo-Suk Go to a 2-year, $4.5 million deal with an option for the 2026 season. In the Aztecs, they start conference play tonight at Viejas Arena, 6:30 pregame, 7:30 tip time. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is all yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today. All right, back here on Jon and Jim on a Wednesday, and a lot of Padres news to talk about. They just signed Woo-Suk Go, and before that, they announced this morning their coaching staff. About damn time. I feel like it was taking forever to announce their coaching staff. At one point, it was like, okay, are they going to have a coaching staff? We heard a report out that they hired a hitting coach. We also know that Ruben Niebla was returning. We know Ben Fritz, the bullpen coach, was returning. But we didn't know if they were going to officially make any news about their coaching staff at all until spring training in about a month. But this morning, they announced their coaching staff. It is 13 people on the coaching staff, including Mike Shell. 13. Again, I don't know if that is one of the bigger coaching staffs, one of the larger coaching staffs in all of baseball. But look, the more the merrier. I don't mind it. I think people would be concerned there's only like 5 people on the coaching staff, right? So if there's 13, I'm cool with it. More voices to help people out. If one person doesn't see something, the other person might see it. Like, I'm cool with it. And as of right now, they have 3 hitting coaches / hitting instructors. Victor Rodriguez, Pat O'Sullivan, and Mike McCoy. That name, literally this morning when I saw it,
it's something special.
Gave me like shivers. Mike McCoy. No, not that Mike McCoy.
It's something special.
Oh my God.
They're going to have the greatest week of practice every week.
Every single day, they're going to have the greatest batting practice of all time.
They're never going to be able to figure out why they're not winning, but they had an awesome practice, awesome BP.
You know, after every game, when they only have 4 hits, it's going to be hey, we got to go look at the film.
It's something special.
Got to go look at the tape. Manny Machado strikes out 4 times. I got to look at the tape. I don't know what happened. I just got to go look at the tape. But that name alone just made you go, oh, what? And it's not the Mike McCoy that I'm referring to, duh. But it was interesting that it's somebody on the coaching staff whose literal name is a name of just brings it's just San Diego horror. Like when you think of like horrible coaches in San Diego sports history, Mike McCoy is definitely on the top tier.
Oh yeah.
One of the worst, just most annoying, just made your ears bleed every time you heard him talk.
Text line says visors for everyone during batting practice.
Yes. Visors and film and practice. Man, that guy sucked. Anyway, back to the actual coaching staff and not with Mike McCoy. There's a lot of brought up from within coaches on this staff, and Mike Schilt talked about it earlier today. And here's Mike Schilt talking about just how he got to this particular coaching staff, along with AJ Preller, because obviously AJ Preller, has his hands in everything. But here's Mike Schilt today.
There's a lot of internal continuity. You know, we've talked a fair amount this offseason appropriately about alignment, organizational alignment. And, you know, we want to make sure we're putting our proverbial money where our mouth is, so to speak. And we've got some, 3 exceptional guys that have done a tremendous job internally in organization. Mike McCoy will be in the hitting department with Patrick O'Sullivan. And then Ryan Barba will be our Major League Field coordinator. All 3 of these guys, pretty much homegrown guys. Barb's comes from the Angels, but, McCoy and Sully have been here, started their coaching careers as homegrown Padres. And just know that it's very important to promote from within, create that continuity that we're going to continue to develop and make extremely strong and a big part of our Padre way of operating with our player development and graduating homegrown talent. So it's a good starting point to talk about our staff with these guys, and congratulations to them on their promotion to big leagues.
All right, so 2 things there. One, the bringing up from within kind of leads you to believe, okay, we're probably going to see a lot of players be brought up this year, and they want to have that transition be as smooth as possible. I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. Getting people that, Jackson, that have worked with guys like Jackson Merrill, Graham Pauley, like Dylan Lesko, like you've been around these guys throughout their minor league careers. And as soon as they get to the big league level, it's a familiar face. So I'm cool with that. I like that you can be a coach in the minor leagues in this organization, and there's an opportunity for you to be promoted. I think that's pretty cool. And the second thing, which we've talked about it before, the emphasis on hitting has been something that has been lacking here forever. This team has rolled through countless hitting coaches or offensive coordinators. I would have loved, by the way, if they named Mike McCoy an offensive coordinator. That would have just been chef's kiss. But the emphasis there that you heard from Mike Schilt talking specifically about the 3 hitting instructors / hitting coaches on this team, Victor Rodriguez, Pat O'Sullivan, Mike McCoy, 2 of them have come up through the organization. Victor Rodriguez seems like a guy that not handpicked by Xander Bogaerts, but probably got a good endorsement from Xander Bogaerts because he worked with him in Boston. So the emphasis on hitting, I think, has to finally be something that this organization does. You got the pitching side locked down. All right. Ruben Niebla got that locked down. You don't have to worry about him at all. All right. He has proven that he can take guys and mold them and make them pretty decent pitchers, or take guys that are really good pitchers and elevate them to another level. So the pitching side, you got that locked down. Hitting side, that's been a problem forever. This team last year should have been one of the best offenses in baseball, and they weren't even close. Now, is that because of Ryan Flaherty? Is that because they don't have great analytics? Is that because they didn't put an emphasis on hitting? Or is that because just a bunch of dudes that got all their money and didn't perform and had really bad years? Maybe it's a combination of all of that. But the fact that this team, for a decade since Preller's been here, has gone through countless hitting instructors, hitting coaches, offensive coordinators, you need to lock that down. You need to get people in here, and you need to put an emphasis on the offense. You just have to. The lineup, they've had good lineups, but for whatever reason, these lineups are not performing like they should. Is this lineup this year going to be as good on paper as last year's? Absolutely not. So that makes it even more, important to get everything you possibly can out of guys this upcoming year. You just have to. And finally, Mike Schilt talking about, the coaching staff is pretty much for the younger guys for the transition to the big league level once they get here.
That's a part of it, man. It's part of the goals for the organizational alignment to create that synergy between the big league staff, the player development department, and then making sure we're keeping an easy transition into what can be a challenge for players as they come up to compete for a championship caliber club that we expect to have in San Diego. So that's really important, not only in the hitting department, but you look across the board against our whole staff. One of the many things I love about this staff is the experiences they have. This is a group that has really fought and earned their way as players to get the most out of their careers. As coaches, like I said, they've managed, they've coordinated, they've gotten dirty in the sense of getting in the, on the field and coordinating different programs. And so they know what players and what it takes to be able to teach, communicate, immerse themselves with the players. And, all these guys have clearly done it because they care about players, which is why we're here. So, a little bit more maybe to answer your question, but, it's definitely a factor to make sure that there was an experience level from a teaching and a coaching standpoint from a lot of different levels, including the big leagues, to round out our staff for not only our big league players, but the players coming up. Yeah, it's important. It's important that, again, guys that have familiarity with them when they come up. I know our big league clubhouse is going to make these players feel comfortable and welcome as well. That's part of the process, the clubhouse, helping the clubhouse and our, our players had the heart to help these guys come up, but also having some familiarity with Mac and Sully and Barbs and some of this group, that when they come up, there's that continuity, familiarity, and trust that's already established.
Yeah, continuity, everybody on the same page. Hopefully they don't have any coaches on the staff that are trying to backstab the other coaches and get jobs and,
it's something special.
Try to you better keep that right there, by the way.
Dude, that guy got fired like 6 years ago and I still have it. You think I'm gonna get rid of it now?
No, I mean like for the remainder of the season. Because when this offense doesn't do well, it's going on Mike McCoy, even though Mike McCoy isn't the main hitting coach. Anyway, you hear a lot from Mike Schilt there. Same page, right? Everybody wants to be on the same. Say what you want about Bob Melvin. Dude, these coaching staffs the last couple of years were a mess. The coaching staffs the last however many years have been a mess, dating back to Andy Green. It just, Pat Murphy. Like, these coaching staffs under Preller, there's not been synergy for multiple years with coaching staffs. There hasn't. There's always been problems. There's always been firings. There's always been quote unquote guys trying to take other people's jobs. Like it's just not been a nice place to work. Like it's not been fun. It just hasn't. So getting everybody on the same page, oh my God, what a freaking concept. And hopefully that's the case. Now we'll have to see. But if the emphasis is on getting everybody on the same page and nobody's trying to backstab people and they don't continue to roll, go through hitting coach after hitting coach after hitting coach, like maybe this coaching staff has a chance. I still am a Bob Melvin guy. I don't mind the Mike Schilt hire. I definitely think it's the best that they could have done in the situation they had. I do think that at this very moment in time, until we see what happens and plays on the field, is a downgrade from Bob Melvin. But just because he might be a downgrade from Bob Melvin at this point in time doesn't mean that Mike Schilt isn't the right guy. Because he absolutely could be and can be. And I think over time, I think Mike Schilt can be the guy for this team. We just have to see it. Just like we have to see with all these moves that Preller's made. Like you can easily go out and say, oh, this guy's going to be great. This guy's going to be this. But well, you haven't seen it yet. And then if we get through next year and the Padres make a trip to the postseason and say they win a wild card round and they get to the division round, or hell, maybe they make a championship series again, then we can say masterclass by AJ Preller last offseason and Mike Schultz the guy. It's pretty simple. I know people don't like to wait, me included, but sometimes you just have to let things play out. And as of right now, I like the direction. I just have to wait and see how it plays out. All right, coming up next, Stephen A. Smith. This take by Stephen A. Smith. Probably the worst take I've ever heard in my entire life. You'll hear what he had to say coming up next. All right, coming up next, a take from Stephen A. Smith that is, it's the worst take of all time. Coming up next. Jon and Jim on a Wednesday. Jon will he'll be back tomorrow. I don't actually know if he's actually back in San Diego yet, but he will be back tomorrow. I know some people in the chat on YouTube and on Twitter and on the text line are begging for Jon to come back because they can't stand my voice. Don't worry. He'll be back tomorrow. The Jon and Jim show have its first official show of the 2024 year tomorrow. Almost exactly, well, not exactly, but close to our 2-year anniversary, which will be next week on the 10th.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday. Thank you, Brent.
Week from today.
Week from today. I'm not great with days. You know, Stephen A. Smith, he gets paid to just be as outlandish as possible, and he does an amazing job at it. Like, if you tell me right now who's the best just like hot take guy out there that 80% of his takes are just like, what are you talking about? I would probably put Stephen A. Smith close to the top. I think he's gotten better over the years, but when he has a take that's so out there, I would put him close to the top, right next to Nick Wright, who is the king of all trolls, sitting at the top of the mountain as far as dumbest hot takes of all time. But Stephen A. Smith is close to, is up there. If we had a draft and I had a first round pick and I'd like pick number 2, Nick Wright went 1, I'd take Stephen A. Smith. So we talked about this yesterday, how much I love the Rose Bowl. And I'm not the only one that loves the Rose Bowl. It's, to me, the perfect bowl game. There is nothing wrong with it. Nothing. The only thing that should ever change with the Rose Bowl is the sponsor. That's it. And it does change every single year. But January 1st, 2 p.m., West Coast time, Rose Bowl. It's a college football semi-playoff site. And then when it's not, you're going to have, oh man, who are they going to have now? It's going to be a Big Ten school, and who else? That's going to be interesting to figure that out because it used to be Big 12, Pac-10 or Pac-12.
They'll find a replacement.
They always do. But that to me, just on New Year's Day, watching the Rose Bowl, just the scenery, the field, the teams, like just everything about it to me is perfect. And I get it. If you go to the game, it's probably hell because the traffic's bad, the infrastructure's not good, the parking's crap. But from a viewer standpoint on TV, it's fantastic. So here's Stephen A. Smith on his take on the Rose Bowl. And it's the worst take of all time.
I mean, have you been there, doggy? Let me tell you something. This is a spectacular stadium. And all I'm trying to say is this. You got 100,000 people showing up. And we literally, I'm talking about, you get off the highway, right? So traffic is backed up for a mile trying to get up the exit. So let me help you. Can you ask me a question? Please let me answer. We're going on the highway, right? The traffic is backed up. And then you know how you got to make a right? And then a quick left, right? And that makes traffic, but there's a light there. So that makes traffic. When you make the right, you got to stop at the light. And then you make a quick right, and then the light's right there. And then you make a quick left, and the right like that. And it's only one lane, and there's 100,000 people. I mean, damn. And listen, at some point in time, it's difficult to get to the damn game. And I'm just saying. I swear to you. I swear to y'all. And this is bougie. Hold on. This is bougie, but I'm going to say it.
Bougie.
I swear to y'all, if I could have, I'd have took a helicopter in there.
Ric Flair style.
I'd have took a helicopter. If they'd have let me. If they'd have let me, I'd have took a helicopter.
Just say this.
Traffic was that bad.
Say this.
You've changed.
Say this so you can save, so you can bring, so normal people can be in your lair. Just say this.
We all know I am normal.
They shouldn't move the Rose
From
Bowl
Hollis.
game. Can you just say that? Can you just say that? They shouldn't move the Rose Bowl.
You're a long way from Hollis. I don't want to hear that again.
I am in Hollis. I'm always in Hollis.
No, I don't want to hear.
I'm always in Hollis.
You ain't
No,
you're
all day, every day.
But you are Hollywood and you are bougie. But I like the way you say bougie more.
But you're not even driving.
No, I didn't drive that day. I didn't drive that day because I would have had to park myself about 2 miles from the stadium.
People wish they could have been at that game, and here you are complaining.
Stephen A, do you take up residence in LA?
Like,
let me.
He's got residence everywhere.
Do you take up residence in LA?
One of my spots.
Okay, well let's move on, Molly. This man is he is horrible. He is horrible.
I just saying, man.
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
The rest of the world out there trying to survive with it.
And then he later went on, I think it was before this, he mentioned that the Rose Bowl should move to SoFi. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, Stephen A., but just don't go. Don't go. I get it. Traffic sucks. Deal with it. It didn't bother the 100,000 people that went to Michigan, Alabama. I'm sure that a lot of them were pissed at Alabama fans once they had to leave that game.
It probably did bother them. They just don't have a national TV show to vent their frustrations about traffic.
But at the same time, it's just like you when you go to a big time sporting event, guess what there's going to be? A lot of people. Guess what that means? Traffic. So let's not just all of a sudden think to ourselves, let's just move the game to a different stadium. Let's just move the game to SoFi, which Stephen A. Smith said today. No. Sorry, bro. Deal with it. Bougie. Get my helicopter in there. Stop it. How did the other half live? Jeez, man. Yeah, the Rose Bowl's never moving. Okay? Sorry. Deal with the traffic. Deal with the 100,000 people. Deal with the one lane, the parking. That's a disaster. Now, I've never been, so I can never truly say. But at the same time, like I mentioned, for me, the Rose Bowl, watching on TV is what I love. And I'm sure a lot of people love as well. And nobody cares about your problems parking. So because of that, moving the game to SoFi, that's the dumbest take of all time. It will never move to SoFi, ever. Coming up next, the wrap, also giveaway today, Trainwreck Radio, and Woo-Suk Go. Probably the best name in sports. Is he going to be the Padres closer this year? All that coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres made it official today. They signed Korean reliever pitcher Woo-Suk Go to a 2-year, $4.5 million deal with an option for the 2026 season. In Aztecs basketball tonight, it is conference play, the start of conference play, as they take on Fresno State. 6:30 is when our pregame coverage starts with Fletch and Jonathan Rifkin. 7:30 is when the tip-off happens at Viejas Arena. Of course, you can listen to that game and Uncle Teddy on the call on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
What's going on, San Diego? Jon and Jim on a Wednesday. Of course, Jon will be back tomorrow. The first official Jon and Jim show will be tomorrow afternoon starting at 3 p.m. Of course, there's many ways to consume this show, listen to this show, even watch this show. If you want to watch us, YouTube is the best way to do that. Jon and Jim 760, search us out there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to listen to us, the iHeartRadio app, best way to listen to this show wherever you go. San Diego Sports 760. Listen on the radio, 760 AM. There's just multiple platforms and ways to consume this show. So, Aztecs basketball returns tonight at Viejas Arena after their huge win versus Gonzaga, and they start conference play. And we had Mark Ziegler on yesterday. And even if we didn't talk to Mark, we all know, and he said it as well, like the Mountain West Conference this year is stacked. And if the Aztecs can get through the Mountain West Conference schedule with a good record, we'll see what they do in conference play. Then they're going to be poised to make a pretty good run in March Madness, or at least be battle tested enough because of what the Mountain West Conference has right now. Just looking at the Mountain West Conference, all right. Colorado State, they're ranked 13th in the country. They're 13-1 on the year. Utah State, they're 13-1 on the year. Nevada, they're 13-1 on the year. New Mexico, they're 12-2 on the year. And then the Aztecs are 11-2 on the season as well. Every single team in the Mountain West Conference, as of right now, has a 500 or better record through non-conference play. The worst team in the conference record-wise right now from their out-of-conference play. And it's all different because out-of-conference play they don't all translate, right? Like San Diego State's conference non-conference schedule doesn't translate to Air Force's non-conference schedule.
Not everyone's playing at Gonzaga.
Exactly. So it's different. But what I'm just saying is, as of right now, and this will obviously all change. At the end of the year, you're not going to have every single team 500 or better with all crazy good records. But, San Jose State right now is 7-7 on the year. That's the worst record of the Mountain West Conference heading into conference play. So you're looking here and you're saying to yourself, all right, what's the bids? How many bids is this conference going to get? And Colorado State right now feels like a pretty automatic if they keep this up. And they're a really good team. Utah State, San Diego State, obviously, Nevada, and New Mexico. You have 5 teams vying for the tournament this season. I would say 4 are going to absolutely make it. 5 maybe make it, depending on what happens in conference play. But to say a 5-bid league means that you're going to be facing some tough competition this year. And we all thought heading into the 2024 season that coming off of their run to the national championship game, that their out-of-conference schedule would be the toughest part of the season for them. But it's now shaped up that maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the Mountain West Conference schedule and conference play is going to be significantly tougher for this team than the out-of-conference schedule play. Just because of the travel and the amount of good teams you have and all the rankings. And I know John's not here to get into KenPom and net rankings and everything, but this conference has some very, very good analytical ratings.
We're 23rd in the net. I looked today.
Thank you, Brent. The Aztecs 23rd in the net. I think Colorado State is either top 10 or top 12.
They actually went down a spot, which made no sense to me, but John can explain it tomorrow.
None of it actually makes sense at all, but still shows just there's 2 elite teams in this conference, according to the rankings, and then there's 5 really good teams in this conference, and then other schools are going to pose problems at times. Tonight, they open up with Fresno State. I think they're a 15.5-point favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 14-point favorite, but still, they're favored by double digits.
15.5.
15.5. And it's so stupid in college basketball because if the Aztecs win tonight by 6, they're going to go probably down in the rankings. Like, they need to win by probably 20 points to maybe move up any spots in the rankings. Maybe. Or just win by 20 to make sure they stay where they're at. Oh, boy. I just sneezed. It's much different when John's not here because I can actually turn my mic off and you have no idea what's going on. But when John's here, you can hear me sneeze.
Well, you two can see you sneeze too.
That's true.
So.
It's the weather, guys. It's definitely the weather. So conference play is going to be a gauntlet. I can't wait because it's really going to test this team. I think this basketball team is really good if they're all healthy. If Darion Trammell is going to play like he did in the first half versus Gonzaga, and frankly, for the entire game against Gonzaga, if he's going to play like that, coming off the bench this year, average double digits, this team is going to be good. Because I feel like Lamont, while he's had let's call it what it is. He's had a bad start to his season. If he can become that consistent player that we know throughout this upcoming Mountain West Conference schedule play, and you have Darion Trammell being that scorer off the bench that they need, along with Jay Powell, and hopefully Miles Bird gets more confidence the more he plays, right? You're going to get that, All-American play from Jaden Ledee. Reese Waters has been he's been fantastic. He was named the National Player of the Week and Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. He's just so smooth on offense. He can get a bucket anywhere on the floor. This team is going to be really good. But they just can't afford to have any injuries, anybody slipping up. Like, that's when they play teams like Colorado State and New Mexico, they're going to need to have performances like they did versus Gonzaga. They just are. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Conference play starts tonight. 6:30 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts with Fletch and Jonathan Rifkin. 7:30 tip-off at VA House Arena. So make sure to tune into that tonight. All right, Brent, let's get to it.
Where's Blake Snell going to sign?
I saw Buster Olney today starting his propaganda tour that I'm sure Scott Boras told him to do on social media for Blake Snell and Josh Hader.
No, it was a little birdie that told him that.
Little birdie. At this point in time, I feel like anybody but the Giants would feel like an upset because they're the team that lost out on Shohei, lost out on Yamamoto. They had to, I'm not going to say settle for Jung-Hoo Lee, but they probably overpaid a good amount for Jung-Hoo Lee because they had to make a signing. So at this point in time, I would say that he'll sign with the Giants. Do you agree, Brent?
I just feel like everyone's going to go to the Dodgers.
Dude, if he goes to the Dodgers,
I just feel like that's just the way things are going to go. It's just like everyone's just going to end up there. I don't know. There was that report, maybe Seattle could be in talks earlier.
Hometown, I get it, but they're not really spending any money, and then he's going to cost about $160+ million.
Well, that's the thing. If they're not spending on anyone else, they'll have it to spend on him if they want to. But Yeah, I could see San Francisco though.
Okay. Yeah. San Francisco. And it would just be completely ironic that he would go there. And of course, opening day here in San Diego's versus the Giants, probably with Blake Snell starting that game on the mound, getting his Cy Young Award, and Bob Melvin in the opposing dugout. So, hey,
awkward.
Perfect. Yeah. Awkward for sure. All right, Brent, next question.
All right. Same question, different guy. Where's Josh Hader going to end up?
See, his market's a little different because I just don't know why a team would give a closer $100 million. Like Blake Snell, you can rationalize, all right, he just won the Cy Young. Maybe he turned this corner where he's going to be more consistent from now on, and he's going to be closer to the guy last year than he was previous seasons when he was not a good pitcher, or at least not to the level of what the contract he's going to get is. So I think Blake Snell has more of a market than Josh Hader, but I'll pick the Phillies. I think the Phillies are a team that continues to love to spend money, and they need a closer. They might view him as like the missing piece in the bullpen. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Philadelphia for like a stupid $100 million contract, which I would find laughable.
Where's Kimbrel at last year?
Kimbrel was in Philadelphia.
Okay, then yeah, I would say him because, like you said, they have an opening. So
because Kimbrel is not it.
He hasn't been it for a while.
And I think if they had a guy like Josh Hader in the postseason last year, maybe they get to the World Series again. Maybe they get past Arizona. I don't know, but I'll just say Philadelphia right now, just because I think the fit is there, and because I think Philadelphia can spend the money and would spend the money on a guy like Josh Hader. All right, next question, Brent.
Now our customary game day question: is this a must-win game for the Aztecs tonight versus Fresno State?
I put that in there for you, John. Yes, it is a must-win game. When you are going up against a team that you're a 15.5-point favorite against, in college basketball especially, the game is different. It's not like the NFL or the NBA where style points don't matter. In college basketball, if you beat a team by a point that is significantly ranked lower than you, you're probably going to drop in net rankings, in KenPom, in analytical rankings that matter more than AP votes. So yes, tonight's a must-win game. You can't lose against Fresno State.
No, it's not. I don't think it is. It's their first game in conference, and we just got done talking about how strong the conference is. So that kind of allows us to, we can lose a couple games in conference and be okay just because of how strong it is. They're not gonna mark us down for. It's not going to go down as such a bad mark on us for losing if they think we have such a good conference. So I would say no, not yet. They can afford to lose one.
Well, here's the thing, though,
and it's
Brent.
the first game of the year.
Here's the thing, though. Yes, I agree with you. They can afford, because the conference is so good, to lose a couple games. But those games are you want to be against like the Colorado States, right, on the road, because those games will be a quad one game, and if you lose on the road, you probably won't drop much in the rankings, the net rankings. But if you lose at home to a Fresno State when you're favored by 15.5 points, that's not a good loss at all. I get where you're saying, like the conference as a whole is going to lift everybody up, but you can't afford. I just don't think you can afford to lose tonight to Fresno State. That's just what I think. All right, Brent, final question.
I was looking for their net. I can't find it. Hold on.
Probably not on there. It's so bad.
Oh, it'll be on there. I just have to look that further down the list. How many saves will Woo-Suk Go have next year with the Padres?
Look, it's our first day with Woo-Suk Go in our lives. And so I feel like it's okay that every time that one of us says or someone says Woo-Suk Go, it's okay to chuckle a little bit because it's a fantastic name and the puns are endless. But anyway, to answer the question, I'm going to go with like 12. I don't think there's going to be a guy on this team this year that's going to have like a 30 save plus year. Could be wrong. But I do think it's going to be spread out. I do think there will be more matchups. I do think that maybe at the end of the season, you could see a guy take the reins here and become that closer, hopefully going into a postseason. But I think to start the season, it'll probably be Robert Suarez. And then it will probably end up becoming a matchup thing. And then hopefully down the stretch, one of these guys, Matsui, Go, or Suarez, will hopefully become that, okay, he's our main closer for the rest of the season. So as of right now, I'm going to go, what did I say? It's 12?
You said 12.
I'll say 12.
I'll say 9. Because like you said, there's two other cooks in the kitchen. So it's not only him that's going to go out there. And we don't know, if it's going to be Suarez is, going to be the first, in line to get the saves, and then it's going to go down. We don't know, what the hierarchy is going to be for the closing position yet. And we don't know if it's going to be a matchup thing. So he's going to have to share too much space with the other closers that I think 9, maybe 10, which, isn't bad considering he's not going to be the everyday closer. He might only end up being, if Suarez or somebody goes 3 days in a row and then can't pitch, he might just be their de facto, 4th day closer because nobody else can go.
Yeah. And you see the strategy here with Preller is like, get as many relievers as you possibly can. Let me pull it up here. Hold on. The list of probably relievers you're going to see on this opening day roster come next season may look something kind of like this, with Robert Suarez, Yuki Matsui, Woo-Suk Go, the 3 guys that we talked about. And then probably Steven Wilson, De Los Santos, Johnny Brito, Pedro Avila, Tom Cosgrove, Randy Vasquez, and Adrian Morejon. I think looking at that right now, nothing really like jumps off the page. There's not a Josh Hader in there. There's not a, like dominant closer that you see on this roster. But you see a lot of quality arms. How will they perform? It's a giant TBD. But there's not anybody on that list that I just named that you're like trash. You see a lot of quality there. You see a lot of potential there. I think a guy like Tom Cosgrove could be pivotal to this bullpen come this upcoming season with what he showed last year, being one of the only lefties in the bullpen along with Adrian Morejon. Some of the stuff that he had last year was fantastic. So if he can produce that over a full season, Robert Suarez, if he can get back to his 2022 self, if Steven Wilson could perform like the first half Steven Wilson last year, Brito, Vasquez, those are 2 new guys from the Yankees organization. Don't know what you're going to get from them, but they were good enough to be in the Juan Soto deal. So hopefully they turn out to be something, because if they don't, then that deal's going to look even worse. Adrian Morejon's probably the only question mark right now, the biggest one of the names that I just named off there, because he just can't stay healthy. Like he can't. Unfortunately for him, he can't stay healthy. And he has great stuff. But his biggest problem is he just is not available. Your best ability is your availability. With Adrian Morejon, a guy that you could see as being not only a swing guy out of this bullpen, but potentially make some spot starts here and there, he's going to probably fill the Nick Martinez role if healthy. I don't see anybody else in this bullpen filling the Nick Martinez role. Well, okay, I take that back. Pedro Avila. That's a guy who performed really well last year that you could see being that Nick Martinez role type guy. But as of right now, it's a good list of names. It's not a great list of names. It doesn't scream like dominant to me. Maybe I'm proven wrong. Hopefully I am. But you got to wait and see. As stupid as and cliche as that is, as much as you probably hate hearing that, you probably want to hear masterclass by Preller. Amazing job by Preller. Look at all these arms. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. I mean, the truth of the matter is, guys, you just don't know. You don't know. And until we see it, at least for the first month and a half of the year next year, that is when we can make a determination. Okay, this is pretty good. This could be pretty good. Or this is going to be a disaster. and it's going to take some time. Because you got you have two guys in this bullpen right now that you have no idea what they're going to do with Go and Matsui. Yeah, they pitch well overseas, but does it translate to the big leagues? That's the big question. And by the way, Matsui, yes, he is obviously a left-hander as well. So they have 3 left-handers in this bullpen: Cosgrove, Matsui, and Morejon. And if one of these guys go down with injury, they have, the pieces in the organization to fill those spots. I mean, Robert Suarez wasn't healthy last year. You confident that Robert Suarez is going to be healthy for this entire season and be like 2022 Robert Suarez? By the way, Robert Suarez in 2022 also dealt with injury as well. He missed a significant amount of time in 2022. So the 2 years that Robert Suarez has been here, who is tabbed to be your closer potentially, has dealt with injuries the last 2 seasons. And the guys behind him are 2 guys that played in Korea and Japan, and you don't know if their stuff's going to translate to the big league level how you want it to translate. We'll see. We'll see. One guy that I do know has it in him to be an amazing player and hopefully gets back to his MVP form this upcoming season is Fernando Tatis Jr. We'll talk about Fernando's chances to get back to that MVP level and hear from Mike Schilt talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. Winter Ball. That's coming up next. All right, coming up next, Fernando Tatis Jr. He's having a great winter ball. So MVP season coming up. We'll talk about that coming up next. This update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres today, they made a move. They made it official, too. They signed Korean pitcher Woo-Suk Go to a 2-year, $4.5 million deal. And tonight, the Aztecs return to Viejas Arena, this time the start of conference play in the Mountain West. 7:30 tip-off, 6:30 is when our pregame coverage starts with Fletch and Jonathan Rifkin. Of course, you can hear all the action right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today. So Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing right now in winter ball for his dad. And we've had this discussion multiple times about, should he play in winter ball? Are you okay with it? Are you worried about him? Well, he's doing fantastic in winter ball right now. The plays that he's making in right field defensively, which, by the way, it's funny how when Preller was on with Darren and he was asked about that, just read between the lines. Yeah, they shut that thing down very quickly. And by shut that down, I mean shut him down from playing shortstop, because his dad mentioned he's a shortstop and he's going to play shortstop, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, the Padres shut that down, and good for them, because I don't want to see Fernando Tatis Jr. playing anywhere but the outfield. I'm cool with center. I'm even cool with left. Right field obviously is where he's going to start the year, presumably, depending on what other roster moves they make. But yeah, right field, outfield, wherever, he's been making fantastic plays. And last night, it's funny because the way this tweet was composed, I'm like, damn, he's doing really good. Said he was 4 for 3 last night. I mean, that to me, if you can go 4 for 3 in a game, Brent, that's pretty special. And not only did he go 4 for 3, 2 doubles and a home run. And it was not just a home run to left field. It was an Oppo taco. And the first thing I think about when I see this, one, it's fantastic to see Fernando Tatis Jr. hitting home runs. But two, you hope that this is the start of a special season for Fernando Tatis Jr. Because if that's the case, that solves a good amount of problems with this team in the lineup. To have a player in this lineup after just losing Juan Soto that can give you a 950 OPS with 40 plus home runs, around 100 RBIs, between a 270 and 300 batting average, right? For him, around 30 stolen bases, 30 plus doubles, couple triples here and there. He can put up those type of numbers. And I don't know where he's going to bat in the lineup. Maybe this team likes Ha-Seong Kim as a leadoff guy, so they move Fernando down a little bit. But if Fernando, wherever he's in this lineup, if he puts up those type of numbers, you just put an MVP player in your lineup. And then you hope that the guys around him, Manny Machado, bounces back to form. And Xander Bogaerts actually, performs for a full season instead of just a month. And Ha-Seong Kim is Ha-Seong Kim like he was this past season. Then you feel okay about the lineup. There's still a good amount of holes, and you don't have any lefty bats, and you're still looking for outfielders, and there's question marks for sure. But if you can have an MVP type of season from Fernando Tatis Jr., that just, I think if you're the Padres, makes you feel a little less worried about things. It gives you a little sigh of relief, because then you don't have to worry. You know, okay, we got an MVP player in our lineup. And I think that's what they believe. They believe that he can be that guy again. And then we get to the discussion, well, if he puts another season together like he did last year offensively, now the question's going to be, well, is he ever going to get back to that? Is he ever going to get back to the 2021 Fernando Tatis Jr., where he finished third in MVP voting? But Mike Schilt today was asked about Fernando Tatis Jr., about, quote unquote, letting him play winter ball. And I thought it was pretty interesting. What do you say about him?
And AJ can speak to some of that. I'll give you my involvement with it. I saw his home run last night, big homer in the 10th, put his club ahead by 2. I was texting with some of the hitting group, and Alan Craig's like, man, that was a nice 7-iron he hit out of there. It's a good-looking swing, and I got to see him in person for 2 games, towards the, end of December. He looks great. When I was there, I don't know why these golf references come up, because I don't really play golf, but he like a 2-iron down the left field line for a 3-run homer. Again, he looks good, feels good. As far as why he's playing, listen, he missed 17 months. I think he was happy with aspects of his season. Talking to him, I also feel like, in talking to him, he felt like he wanted to get a few things. He wanted to work on a few things, and that provided an opportunity for that. And then finally, listen, the guy who loves playing baseball, and he loves playing baseball for basically his hometown and his home country, for his dad. So I get all that, and it's just what a treat it was to go down and watch him play, and just the joy that this guy, has with the game. And so that was a part of the, decision-making process of why he went down to get his at-bats in and work and play winter ball.
Yeah, the guy coming off of pretty much almost a year and a half of not playing, and admitting to Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, how exhausted he was at the end of the year, because the only way you get that stamina and endurance is by just playing baseball, going through the grind, the mental grind, the everyday grind of the game. And he didn't do that for a year and a half. And to his credit, and I think one of the only positives that you could have taken from this past year was that Fernando Tatis Jr. finished the year healthy. There was no problems with him. And he showed that he's a fantastic right fielder. And he also showed glimpses at the plate, like, okay, that's Tatis. I thought that was one of the only bright spots of last season, along with the Blake Snell winning the Cy Young, obviously, and then Ha-Seong Kim. But other than that, it's like it's hard to find stuff that was really great about last year. And making sure that Tatis is ready for this upcoming season, the grind. Like, because we forget, he still missed 20 plus games. Just 20. It was only 20. Well, he missed more than that because I think he took a day off or two. But he missed the start of the season. He missed the first 20 games of the year. So he technically did not play a full season. Yes, he did not get injured or go on the injury list at all last year. But he didn't play 155 games. He didn't even play 145 games. So making sure that Tatis is ready for the long season, is ready to put up the same numbers he did in 2021, is going to go out there and play the Gold Glove right field that he played all of last season. I know the Gold Glove is whatever, but I have eyes, and you all too. And you saw just how good of a right fielder he was and is. You can get an MVP type of year from Fernando Tatis Jr. That makes you feel pretty good about their chances to make the playoffs, to get in at 85, 86 wins. Because if you don't have that type of year from Tatis, honestly, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle.
Well, and if you get MVP caliber Tatis, it'll make up for the loss of Soto too. So
it won't. I don't think it will fully make up for the loss of Soto, but it will help with the loss of Soto for sure. The loss of Soto, nothing can replace that other than Juan Soto. But if you get the MVP type of year from Tatis, if you can get a bounce back, just average Manny Machado year, and then get a season from Xander Bogaerts where he's consistent and not one of the worst hitters in baseball when it comes to runners in scoring position, and cut down on those double plays and his ground ball rate, then we're looking at something good here. But I think we usually have these bold predictions that we talk about before a season starts, and I tell you what, it's not even really a bold prediction, but just one of my predictions is that Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to have a huge year for this team. Huge. And frankly, they need it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts here. Like, they need him to be the $340 million man that they signed him. They just have to. Because if he's not, then that's a major problem. But for him, I'm going to go on the side of believing that he's going to perform like the 2021 version of Tatis and remain healthy and play Gold Glove right field. And like Mike Schultz said there, play the game with passion and smile all the time and have fun and be that guy that was beloved, not only just in this town, but really around baseball as being one of the faces of the game. Like, I used to live next to a 7-Eleven, and before Tatis got popped for steroids or PEDs, whatever, there was a giant, like, Fernando Tatis Jr. Gatorade, cardboard cutout in the 7-Eleven. Now, they took that down really quickly, but it just shows you before he got suspended. I mean, he was the first player with Gatorade since Derek Jeter. He was on commercials all the time, on the cover of MLB The Show. Adidas, one of the biggest athletes they had for baseball for Adidas. And then that all went away. Or at least the majority of it. Now he's, I think, with Nike, but they don't really promote him that much. He doesn't have any national TV deals that I've seen. Adidas dropped him. Gatorade dropped him. So if he can get back to an MVP level, that's what this team is going to need from an offensive standpoint, more than anything. I trust that Machado will be an average year for him. And when I mean average, I mean like put up Machado numbers, because he always posts. Just knowing that he'll be healthy will give you more confidence that he can do that. And then Xander is obviously a question mark. So we'll see. But man, it would be just have a full year. Like if he played just 155 games, hit 42 home runs, had 98 RBIs, hit 285, had an OPS of 960, 35 doubles, 4 triples, 32 stolen bases. I mean, that'd be like an all-time year from a Padre player, by the way. That would be an all-time year. And I say that because we all know that he has it in him. We know that Fernando Tatis Jr., if he put up those numbers next year, Brent, would you be surprised? Like, would you be like, oh my God, shocked? Or would you be like, I kind of expect that?
No, because we know he's capable of doing it.
Exactly. He's definitely capable of doing it. And that's why I say putting up those numbers would be huge for this team. All right, coming up next, Trainwreck Radio, your chance, let me pull this up here, to win a pair of tickets to see Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 31st. Call right now if you want to be a contestant for Trainwreck Radio. It will be me versus me. So 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. Call right now for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Chicago, Earth, Wind, and Fire at the North Island Union Amphitheater on August 31st. Call right now to play Trainwreck Radio. Coming up next on Jon and Jim. All right, coming up next, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Trainwreck Radio coming up next. All right, back on Jon and Jim. I feel like we haven't dove too deep into all of the Woo-Suk Go puns that are still coming in through the text line 70470. Start your message with team. Also through the chat on YouTube. If you want to hit us up with some of your best Woo-Suk Go puns. So we'll read those. We'll read those coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. And the Padres coaching staff this year, what it really says about the future of this team, I think it's interesting because to me, they're telling you without telling you the direction of the team coming up. So we'll get on all to that. But right now, Brent, let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Tammy and Nick. Tammy, you called in first, so you don't have a choice today because it's only Jim. So that means Tammy, you will get to go first.
You're right. Not needed.
Okay. Tammy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. So how we're doing this today is Tammy and Nick, you both get me as a lifeline. But because Tammy, you called in first, you are going to be up first, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right. NBA All-Star voting opened up about 3 weeks ago. Today's question, 10 players have been named All-Star MVP since 2012. Today's question, name any of those 10 All-Star game MVPs. So we're looking for any All-Star MVP since 2012.
Okay. So, Tammy, you're up first. What is your
LeBron James?
LeBron James. On the list, Brent? It's got to be on the list. On the list. There you go. All right, Nick, you're up next. What's your first guess? And you do have your lifeline.
Who watches the NBA All-Star game? I'll go Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
You do, apparently.
Yep. Yeah, apparently you do. Good job, Nick. Tammy, you're up next. What's your second guess? And you do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Chris Paul?
Chris Paul on the list. Good guess. Nick, even though you don't watch.
That was my next guess. I'll go Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo on the list. Final round, both tied at 2. Tammy, you still have your lifeline if you want to use it, but what's your final guess?
What about Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant. Oh, he wasn't an MVP? I thought it was an MVP. Oh, the award,
not since 2012.
The award's named after him, but
he won in 2011. But this is since 2012.
Oh, come on, you got to give it to me.
Oh, sorry, the year off. Now Nick can win it right here with the correct answer.
What if he misses though? Come on, he's gonna miss.
Then it's called overtime.
Then we
so
go to
calm
overtime.
down and relax. Okay, what's your guess, Nick?
Brett, everyone's good now. Okay, Nick, what's your final guess? Nick.
Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook.
Can you hear me?
Who are you whispering to, Nick?
No, it was Tammy. Oh my! Nick with the win. Tammy was just like, please miss, please miss, please miss, please miss.
Said she was off by a year. Kobe won in 2011, but we needed 2012.
I'm so sorry, Tammy. I have a feeling that you really wanted those tickets, but tomorrow I think we're giving them away as well.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow too.
So Tammy, you have a chance to win those tomorrow. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for a chance to win those tickets. So Brent, who did we miss on this list?
Okay, there was 2 multiple winners. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook have both won it twice since 2011 or since 2012. So we had Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, then Westbrook back-to-back years, Anthony Davis, LeBron, Durant again, Kawhi, Giannis, then Steph, and then last year it was Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum won it?
Yeah.
Wow. That shows that I didn't watch a second of last year's. I watched the Steph Curry year, but I did not watch a second of the last year's NBA All-Star game. But congratulations to Nick for winning a pair of tickets to see Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 31st. Of course, tickets and info are at livenation.com. All right, Padres, they made a move today. What other moves do they still need to make? We're getting closer to spring training. They still have a bunch of question marks on this roster. Also, they finally announced a coaching staff. I'll tell you why this coaching staff tells you the exact direction that they're going to go in the future. All that coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres, they made a move today. They made multiple moves today. First, they signed Woo-Suk Go to a 2-year, $4.5 million deal. They also announced their coaching staff, which consists of 13 members on it. And tonight, the Aztecs return to Viejas Arena to start conference play as they take on Fresno State. 6:30 is when our pregame coverage starts. 7:30 is tip-off with Ted Leitner on the call. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today. All right, final hour here on Jon and Jim on a Wednesday. Jon will be returning tomorrow, so it will be the first official Jon and Jim show of 2024. But for the next hour, just hanging out with me and Brent, bringing you at 6 o'clock. 6:30 is when our pregame coverage starts for Aztecs basketball tonight. 7:30 is tip-off time. Yes, Brent?
We are actually starting at 6:40 tonight because there's been a
bump?
Yes, the tip has been moved back.
There's been, what's it called? A slide?
Yes.
There's been a slide.
Very good.
There's been a slide for the
so pregame will start around 6:40.
6:40.
We're just pushing it back 10 minutes.
6:40 pregame start tonight. Fletch and J Riff will be on the call there with Uncle Teddy calling the game tonight at 7:40 tip-off at Viejas Arena. Of course, you can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. And we started the show today, and I feel like it's okay to still continue to talk about it because it's not going to stop, especially if he's good. But the Woo-Suk Go puns, the Woo-Suk Go name, it's amazing. It is something. Thanks a lot, Mike McCoy. Appreciate it. It is something special. It's easily going to go down as one of, if not the best names in Padre history. I can definitively say that right now. And if he turns out to be a good player, it's just going to make it's going to make it that much better. Woo-Suk Go. I mean, come on. I mean, who is not going to buy a Woo-Suk Go jersey? I don't know what will be on the back of the jersey, if it will just be Go, because that's I guess his last name. In Korea, I think it's pronounced Go Woo-Suk. But
well, I wonder if it'll be like, how Kim went with the HS Kim this year. Maybe it'll be something similar.
Potentially. So we'll see, but jersey is definitively in the cart. Like, I couldn't put the jersey in the cart faster. Hold on, wait a second. They released a statement today. Did it show what number he was going to pick? Because if it did, then we're talking here. Then we got something to work with. So I did get No, I did not get a media advisory from them. Interesting. Well, anyway, I know that the Padres officially announced the Woo-Suk Go signing. Maybe we'll have to wait on the number, but jersey is definitely in the cart for Woo-Suk Go.
He wore 19 in the KBO.
Okay. Is there a night? I mean, yeah, he's not going to wear 19 here.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
No. Yeah, he'll not wear 19 here. But whatever the number is, jersey will definitely be in the cart. 858 number, great text here. Jim is the Mike McCoy of San Diego Sports Radio. Usually I don't get
it's something special,
hurt by any text messages, but I'm a little hurt by that one because I know how much Mike McCoy sucked as a coach. And to lump me in with the broad spectrum of San Diego Sports Radio to say that I'm the Mike McCoy of it.
But you had a good week of practice.
I always have a good week of practice, Brent. 619 number. Well, I got to read these before I say them on air. All right, 619 number. Jim, can we get a Woo-Suk to come out for warm-up pitches with Kurt Angle's theme music? Yeah. Maybe somebody will give him the theme music. But the problem is with the Kurt Angle theme music, if you know, you know, they're chanting "you suck," and they're meaning it like you legitimately suck. So I think the last thing that we would want is a chant for Woo-Suk Go.
But it's his name, though.
Yeah, but we don't want to say "you suck" because his name's not "you suck."
But they could just go Woo-Suk.
Woo-Suk. Woo. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. 619 number. Woo go suck. More like we gon' suck. Another 619 number says, go suck woo. All right. There we go. 360 number says, Woo-Suk Go jersey better be WS Go. Okay. I like that. I think I can say this one. 619 number says, suck goes hard. I mean, it's a borderline there. I mean, we are bordering on some potential dump button usage here. 909 number says, definitely number 69. I'll just say it. Definitely number 69. Woo-Suk Go. If he's 69, he's my favorite Padre. Like, no questions asked. None. Absolutely none. I love Fernando Tatis Jr. I love Joe Musgrove. I love Hassan Kim. But if Woo-Suk Go chooses number 69, I mean, right to the top of the list. Instantly. No question about it. My favorite Padre, potentially of all time. 619 number says, 3 hours of gym? Ugh. Hey, a 619 number, Brent, that actually agrees with me. Jim, you are spot on target. The Padres are a collection of bag of rocks, period. AJ has to pray every day. Yeah, I didn't say they were a bag of rocks. I did not say that. I said that there's a lot of, I hope that this guy does well. A lot of, hoping. What's the term? Like, hope isn't a strategy?
I never heard that.
Well, I just made it up. Hope is not a strategy. It's not. And to hope that these guys perform, that's what you're going to do. You have two guys in your bullpen now with the addition of Woo-Suk Go that have never thrown a pitch in the big leagues ever. They've had really good careers overseas in the KPO and in Japan. But it's a different game here. And if those guys don't perform, that's going to be a problem. You're hoping that Robert Suarez returns to 2022 form. You're hoping that Michael King turns into a legitimate starter for you. There's a lot of hope here. A lot. So I didn't say they're a collection of bag of rocks. They have good players on this team. If you guys just woke up from a coma, you should just be grateful that these players are on this team, right? As Eric Grupner would say. Just be grateful. I mean, if you were asleep for the last 3 years and you woke up, you got Manny Machado over there, you got Fernando Tatis Jr., you got Joe Musgrove. It's great. And as Mike McCoy would say, it's special. I got some special talent on this team.
Special.
I got some special players on this team. I got some special ball players on this team. Some ball players. 949 number asked me, did Manny get his surgery? Yes, Manny got his surgery right after the season. But there's been a good amount of Woo-Suk Go love today, rightfully so. 2-year deal, $4.5 million. Pretty good deal. If it doesn't work out, it's not going to matter. It's not going to be a big thing. But if it does work out, then you are saying that's a steal. And Preller needs one of those. I mean, he needs them. He needs one of those desperately. He needs something to go his way desperately. Because what happened last year, you need to have some wins. You need to have Woo-Suk Go or Yuki Matsui really pop. You need one of those guys to hit, and then the other guy needs to be just solid. You need to have some wins here. The Juan Soto trade, kind of hard to view that as a win, in my opinion. But if you get 2 of the 5 guys they got back to actually perform at the big league level and make some major contributions, that to me would feel like a win. Because Juan Soto, if he was here, would put up numbers. So getting rid of Juan Soto, whoever you got back for him, you need to have one of those guys hit. Brito, Vasquez, King, Higgy. You need to have 2 of those guys at least hit on the major league level and perform. So you need to have some wins here. And for the moves that have been made, it reminded me today, Brent, of, and I could be completely off with this, but it reminded me today a little bit of, you ever watch that show called Storage Wars?
I've seen a couple episodes. I'm familiar with it.
So if you haven't seen Storage Wars, it's like you go to a random storage locker that's been locked up,
and they just auction it off.
And you try to find a diamond in the rough. You try to find something in there that you could buy for $150.
Well, that's where that, the Backpage story yesterday about that, those thousands of dollars of video games, those are found in a storage shed.
Exactly. So Preller's the guy on Storage Wars going around to these storage sheds, trying to find some cheap deals with some upside and making that player or thing that he finds in a storage shed triple in value. Like, you sign Woo-Suk Go today to a 2-year, $4.5 million deal. You hope he performs like a $10 million pitcher. You hope he comes out and he has a good year for you. Like we said today, predictions on saves, right? Because I know John Heyman, even though I'm blocked by him for some reason, said that he was going to be the Padres closer. And that would lead me to believe that he's going to get some opportunities. And if he can give you like 10 to 15 saves this year, make it through a full season, have a decent ERA, high 2s, low 3s, maybe, that to me would be a win. That would be a guy that you view, wow, he's only making a couple million a year. Pretty good out of your bullpen. And stuff-wise, if you're wondering about his stuff, I've read that it should translate well to the big league level. Yuki Matsui does not have that dominant fastball that you kind of need if you're a reliever. He relies more on his secondary pitches, his off-speed stuff. But Woo-Suk Go is a guy that can bump it up to 98 on his fastball. Give you a consistent 95, 96. So if you can get one of these guys to perform above their contract, that's a win for Preller. And he did that in 2022. Jorge Alfaro is the first name I think of. Like, you need to find the diamonds in the rough. You need to go to the storage unit that's being auctioned off, and you need to find something that's going to really produce. You need to find those pieces that aren't going to cost you a lot of money, that are going to outperform their contracts. Hopefully they found it with 2 relievers from overseas in Matsui and Go. Because if those guys don't perform, it's going to be pretty tough, because those guys right now are scheduled for the Major League roster. And now you move towards, all right, outfield. Got to figure out what you're going to do in the outfield. All right, DH, got to figure out what you're going to do DH. I would think that Manny Machado is going to be your DH to start the season. Has to be. Just because we're probably not going to see him in the infield for about a month or so. So you have a bunch of moves that still need to be made, but at least we know that Preller's out there doing stuff. At least we know Preller is still making moves, making calls, signing players, and he's also putting together a coaching staff, which was something that I didn't think was going to come down today, honestly. And the coaching staff it's interesting because it's a lot of people from within the organization. And that to me tells me you're going to see a lot of players coming up through the organization on this big league team in the near future. Just because the way that Mike Schilt described having continuity at the big league level from the minor leagues was a big reason why and how they put this coaching staff together. Here's Mike Schilt talking about that earlier today.
There's a lot of internal continuity. We've talked a fair amount this offseason appropriately about alignment, organizational alignment. And, we want to make sure we're putting our proverbial money where our mouth is, so to speak. And we've got some, 3 exceptional guys that have done a tremendous job internally in organization. Mike McCoy will be in the hitting department with Patrick O'Sullivan. And then Ryan Barba will be our major league field coordinator. All 3 of these guys, pretty much homegrown guys. Barb's comes from the Angels, but, McCoy and Sully have been here, started their coaching careers as homegrown Padres. And just know that it's very important to promote from within, create that continuity that we're going to continue to develop and make extremely strong and a big part of our Padre way of operating with our player development, graduating homegrown talent. So it's a good starting point to talk about our staff with these guys, and congratulations to them on their promotion to big leagues.
Homegrown talent, continuity. You see what they're doing here. They're telling you without telling you. Get ready to see a lot of these young guys come up here in the near future because, frankly, not saying they don't have a choice, but they kind of don't have a choice. And to make sure that these kids are as comfortable as possible when they get to the big leagues seems like it's a priority to this team. And you just hope that the players, Manny Machado, and the coaching staff, there's a synergy there, right? You hope that there's none of this backstabbing crap. There's none of these, favoritisms, and there's nobody trying to, take someone's job and just reports of this guy potentially being the manager and replacing this guy. Like you don't want any of that here. Maybe that's the reason why, and we haven't even mentioned yet, they don't even have a bench coach. Do you know that, Brent? They don't have a bench coach.
They have 13 coaches, but you don't have a bench coach?
They have 13 coaches, but they don't technically have a bench coach. Now, it was said today by Mike Schilt how kind of unconventional it is to not have a traditional bench coach. But if Mike Schilt does get ejected from a game, or who's taking a lineup card out to the, home plate, to the umpires, Ryan Barba, hope I'm saying that name correctly, is going to serve as, I guess, the de facto guy that if Mike Schilt were to be suspended, or not suspended, but tossed out of a game, that he would become like, okay, you're the manager now. Which, look, doesn't, I mean, the bench coach role, like is that a big deal? Is that really a big deal then to have a bench coach? I didn't think of it. I mean, really, honestly, the only thing I thought of when I saw this coaching staff was Mike McCoy. Like, that's literally the only thing I thought of. And then hearing Mike Schilt, too, continue to talk about the emphasis on hitting, which this organization needs to do a better job at. Those are the things that stuck out, along with, the promotions of guys that have been in the organization for a long period of time. Here's Mike Schilt talking about that and how it's going to play into the continuity with the young guys that will come up in the future.
That's a part of it, man. It's part of the goals for the organizational alignment to create that synergy between the big league staff, the player development department, and then making sure we're keeping an easy transition into what can be a challenge for players as they come up to compete for a championship caliber club that we expect to have in San Diego. So that's really important, not only in the hitting department, but you look across the board against our whole staff. One of the many things I love about this staff is the experiences they have. This is a group that has really fought and earned their way as players to get the most out of their careers. As coaches, like I said, they've managed, they've coordinated, they've gotten dirty in the sense of getting in the, on the field and coordinating different programs. And so they know what players and what it takes to be able to teach, communicate, immerse themselves with the players. And, all these guys have clearly done it because they care about players, which is why we're here. So, a little bit more maybe to answer your question, but, it's definitely a factor to make sure that there was an experience level from a teaching and a coaching standpoint from a lot of different levels, including the big leagues, to round out our staff for not only our big league players, but the players coming up. Yeah, it's important. It's important that, again, guys that have familiarity with them when they come up. I know our big league clubhouse is going to make these players feel comfortable and welcome as well. That's part of the process. The clubhouse, helping the clubhouse, and our, our players had the heart to help these guys come up, but also having some familiarity with Mac and Sully and Barbs and some of this group, that when they come up, there's that continuity, familiarity, and trust that's already established.
Kumbaya. Everybody on the same page? We good? You good? Everybody, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk things out. We're not gonna, not talk to one another. We're gonna all be on the same page here. Kumbaya. If I text you, you're gonna text me back. Like, we good to go? You can see how the emphasis is put on this year and how it was lacking last season, and maybe for the last couple seasons, honestly, because they did make a run in 2022 of the NLCS, but there was already rumors at the end of that season of Bob Melvin wanting out because he couldn't get along with Preller, because those two guys just could not get along.
I think there's a degree of them wanting to just straighten things up because
good,
well, just from the point of view of just all the articles that came out about just all the dysfunction, it had to be embarrassing for them on a certain level to just
I hope so.
be consistently called out for just all the dysfunction that was going on in the clubhouse and the front office and everything else, to where maybe this year, it's like you said, they're going to actually communicate with each other and, just go, look, we don't want this embarrassment to happen again last year. It wasn't a good look for anybody in the organization. So let's, these are simple fixes. We just have to talk to each other and just communicate better.
I hope so, because when those reports came out, there was a lot of denying it from the Padres side. There was a lot of sweeping it under the rug. There was a lot of everything's fine here, nothing's wrong. And it was pretty annoying to hear that from them. Like, guys, you're getting outed here by some credible, really good reporting, and you're saying it's all false. You look like idiots here. Like, own up to it. Say we made mistakes. Fix the mistakes. That was the one thing of the offseason that just really pissed me off and upset me, is the fact that they were turning away from everything that everybody reported on. We're fine. I mean, Preller just blatantly lying to everybody was really annoying. So, like you said, Brent, I hope that they took everything to heart, even though publicly they didn't give a crap about it. But I hope behind closed doors they really said, okay, this is a joke. We can't keep getting dragged through the mud year after year after year. And I got to change. I being AJ Preller. And we have to change. And we cannot do this anymore. So hopefully, I really do. And it sounds like it. Mike Schilt, to be determined if he's going to be a good manager for this team or not. He was really good in St. Louis, making the playoffs for 3 straight seasons. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But so far, the message is a good one, and they just have to follow through. And as I said when Mike Schilt was first hired, there's going to be a honeymoon phase. There already is one. The honeymoon phase of everything's great, we all get along, this is awesome, kumbaya. But once S hits the fan, then how are they going to react? And by they, I mean Preller. Can they all work together for the long haul? Can this be legitimately When's Preller's deal up? 2026? Was it 2024? Can this be a legitimate 2-3 year kumbaya, everything's great marriage between the two? Because you haven't got that the last 5 years with every single manager that's run through the door here. So we'll see. All right, coming up next, why targeted ads are what they are, and the one person in the world that has no idea what a targeted ad is. This is the most hilarious story you'll ever hear. That coming up next. All right, coming up next, why targeted ads are a real thing, and somebody who had no clue what they were. Coming up next. This update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres, they made a move today. They officially signed Woo-Suk Go to a 2-year, $4.5 million contract. He also has an option for the 2026 baseball season. Padres also announced their coaching staff today, consisting of 13 members on the staff. And the Aztecs, they're back in action tonight at Viejas Arena. 6:40 pregame start. 7:40 is tip-off against Fresno State. Of course, listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today. So I have a official scouting report here from Kyle Glazer, who will actually join us on Friday on Woo-Suk Go. And here it is. So it says Go's fastball gives him a chance to be a low leverage reliever, but he needs to sharpen his secondaries to become more. He'll be 25 most of next season and still has room for growth. Go is a strong physical right-hander with power stuff. His fastball sits 93 to 95 and touches 98 with late movement at its best. He lacks deception in his delivery, and his fastball flattens out at times. But he's still able to beat hitters with pure power. Go's best secondary pitch is a curveball that flashes average with late bite, though it is inconsistent. He also has a below average low 90s cutter that works as a chase pitch, but gets hit hard in the zone. Does that sound like a closer to you? Not really. But they need more arms in that bullpen, and they need guys with good stuff. And I think just reading that and seeing some highlights, playing scout for a couple minutes here, it's a good arm and it's a low deal. So to me, it's like a win. I view it as a win-win. If he performs, that's awesome. If he doesn't perform, not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. So, Brent, when you're searching for stuff online, you get the ads on the side, and usually it shows, for me, it's like golf stuff or like, I don't know, sweatshirts or like Nike apparel, right?
For me, it's like hats and dog stuff.
Right. So Jason Whitlock, who, I mean, say what you want about him, whatever. But over the weekend, he posted on Twitter one of the funniest, clueless things you'll ever see. And I'm kind of wondering myself, did Jason Whitlock just find out with what targeted ads are? Now I can't I can't read this on the air, but essentially it was a porno ad.
Okay.
It was a porno ad on his targeted ads bar.
Okay.
And he was complaining about this porno targeted ad on his computer. He wrote, "I'm looking at NFL standings on ESPN.com. This is the ad running above the standings. How is this possible? Is this appropriate?" And it was basically like,
Pornhub ad.
Having sex with me is a great way to spend your birthday, type of thing. Like, click here. It was so bad.
Old cougars looking for love.
It was so bad. Like, how did you not know what a targeted ad is, bro? And then to put it out there, it's just so funny. Because I think Jason Whitlock's a giant douche. But putting that out there, being oblivious to that, created one of the more funnier Twitter posts to start out the year. Like, complaining about an ad on your computer, which is a targeted ad.
I say check your browser history, bro.
Being like straight up porn. And not only porn, it's like solicited porn. And it's like, the joke's on you, buddy. The joke is on you. You're the one that has a filthy mind. And not only that, you're like targeting sex, and it's on your screen, and you're letting millions of people see it. Apparently, it gained like 18 million views. I mean, the amount of quote tweets are through the roof, Brent. Right now, it's at 24.2 million views.
Because he looks like a dumbass.
I know. He looks like an idiot. Bro, the next time you get upset about a targeted ad, just remember that targeted ad is because you're the one searching out these things.
That's why you log out of your computer at work, dude.
That's exactly why you log out of your computer at work. And even if you're at work, why are you looking at those things? It just, why?
Because people are weird. When I first broke into radio, there was a guy that when he would sit there on his phone and watch porn while he was doing his show.
What?
Yeah. He wasn't there very long. He was fired after like 6 months. But yeah, he would he'd be in the studio watching stuff on his phone while he was doing the show.
Bro.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little too fun. That would be something. If I was just watching porn on my phone during the show.
Yeah, here's a weird guy, obviously.
But yeah, if anybody out there does not know, like when you search for something, or if you like go to ESPN.com, like let's see if it works for me here. So I go to ESPN.com.
You don't even have to search. If his computer was a laptop that had a microphone, all he has to do is just say something.
And then it definitely, yeah, because your phone listens to you.
If we sit here and talk about, delicious Dairy Queen blizzards, I'm going to log on to Facebook in a half an hour, and all of a sudden I'm going to be flooded with all these ads in my newsfeed for Dairy Queen. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah, my feed is mostly like golf. Like when I go onto Instagram and they show like the ads there, you know what I've been getting a lot of lately? Microphones. I've been getting a lot of ads for the Shure microphones for some reason. A lot. And then golf, and then tuxedos. Because one, I'm getting married, so I'm looking for tuxedo places. Two, I love golf. And then microphones. I'm pretty proud of that. Honestly, I'm pretty proud of those targeted ads that I get on my phone. Because the second I go to Instagram and I go to someone's story, and then I keep clicking, like, here's the first targeted ad I get right here. Built Basics pants. I get that on my phone. That's one of the first targeted ads that I get. And then I get the Wood. Don't worry. The Wood Hub, which is like not that hub, but it's like soundboards for your room to make like the sound condensers.
I keep getting things for cheese lately.
Cheese, interesting.
That's the first thing that came up with some place called Cheese Brothers, which I've never even heard of.
Interesting.
Just send you cheese through the mail.
Yeah, see, my next one right here is an editing tool. So just a reminder, if you're on your phone and you're on like Instagram or Facebook and you're scrolling and then you see like, I don't know, a porn ad, it's not because Facebook's trying to sell you some porn. It's because you're looking at porn. It's plain and simple. You're the one that's generating these targeted ads. That's what it is. And Jason Whitlock, being an idiot, didn't realize that and posted for the entire world to see. And everyone pointed and laughed at him. And somehow he's viewing it as like a positive. Like, bro, you're a pervert. End of story. Because I can't even say what the targeted ad is on the radio. Because it's that bad. It's not just porn. It's a specific type of porn. Clean it up. Clean it up. My back page next. All right, coming up, we'll wrap up today's show and my back page. Stay with us. All right, final stop here on Jon and Jim for this Wednesday. Jon will be back tomorrow, so we'll have the first official Jon and Jim show of 2024 tomorrow at 3 p.m. Aztec basketball tonight, 7:40 is when we officially have our pregame. So, excuse me, 6:40.
Yeah.
7:40 is when the tip-off
Yeah.
happens at Viejas Arena. Ted Leitner on the call. Fletch and Rifkin, Jay Riff, are going to be your pregame host tonight. So stay tuned for that. And all right, Brent, let's get to it. I know what I wanted to say before we get to the back page here is that the Pro Bowl was announced today. Did you see that?
I missed it.
Just like everybody else. They don't even do the Pro Bowl anymore, right? They just do like a flag football.
Yeah, it's stupid. And they do all those stupid. They play dodgeball and something like that. I don't know. Everyone makes fun of the NBA All-Star game. I'd so rather watch them not play defense for 4 hours and watch the NFL play flag football.
I'd rather see Steph Curry take half-court shots.
Yeah,
and Giannis throwing alley-oops to himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Than a flag football game. No chance in hell. But if the Niners will make the Super Bowl, I might have to tune in.
Yeah, but if they make the Super Bowl, they won't go.
I know.
Anyways.
That's what I mean. If they don't make the Super Bowl, then I might have to tune into the game because
none of them will show up anyways.
Well, I think one guy will show up because it's his first time. That's Mr. Brock Purdy.
I don't think he'll even show up.
You know, first time guy.
No.
I think first time guys show up unless he gets like injured. Knock on all the wood around me. But the Niners, for whatever it's worth, because Pro Bowls. I mean, I think being named to a Pro Bowl is an accomplishment, but the game is a joke. There's nothing there. I think they view it as, okay, I'm a Pro Bowler. And then obviously first team all pros are more important than that.
Well, it depends. If you were voted to the Pro Bowl, it's something. But if you were voted starter, but you didn't want to go and your backup didn't want to go and his backup didn't want to go.
Sure, yeah.
So then I get to go just because nobody else wanted to go,
then you're not Pro Bowler.
Yeah, it's not an honor. I shouldn't be walking around bragging that I'm a Pro Bowler just because the 5 other people that got voted before me were like, nah, I don't want to go.
But Brock Purdy was voted as the starter for the NFC. Tua Tagovailoa was voted the starter for the AFC over Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. But the 3 starters or the 3 quarterbacks for the NFC are Brock Purdy, Dak, and who else made it? Did Jared Goff? Or no, Matthew Stafford.
Josh Dobbs.
Matthew Stafford made it. And then the 3 for the AFC are Tua, Lamar, and Mahomes. But anyway, if anybody missed it, Pro Bowls are out. Pro Bowl rosters are out. Niners have 9 players. Ravens have 7 players. Those are the 2 teams with the most players on the board. Okay, so Mountain Dew, Brent. Do you like Mountain Dew?
No, not really. I drank way too much of it in high school, and now I'll puke if I drink it.
So Mountain Dew, this Mountain Dew flavor, started at Taco Bell exclusively in 2004.
Oh, Baja Blast or whatever.
Baja Blast.
Yeah, they promote that a lot. I've never had one, so I don't know if it's any good.
Well, now the Mountain Dew is making it much easier for you to get a Baja Blast as it's returning to shelves in 2024 this year. So instead of going to just Taco Bell to get a Baja Blast, you can go to the store and get a Baja Blast there.
I think the last time I would have had a Mountain Dew would have been like when Code Red came out.
Oh, dude, I remember
however long ago that was, which was like around the time Zombie was, so like maybe 2000. I'll have to look it up.
So here's what the vice president of Mountain Dew marketing said about the Baja Blast. Mountain Dew Baja Blast has cemented its place as a fan favorite flavor in pop culture and as a staple in countless Taco Bell orders. So we knew we had to celebrate its 20th anniversary in a big way. Full stop. Cemented its place as a fan favorite in pop culture. What? Whatever you got to say, man.
Well, people know what it is. I don't drink it, but I know what a Baja Blast is.
That is true. I also think if I did drink it, I would hate it because Mountain Dew.
Well, I don't know
sucks.
what like Code Red was supposed to be like cherry mountain. What flavor is Baja Blast supposed to be?
It's Baja, Brent. It's Baja.
So what? It tastes like sand and tequila. What is that? That doesn't tell me anything.
Hey, if you go to a Taco Bell bar in Las Vegas, I'm sure you can get a Baja Blast with some tequila in it, which is I kind of would like that actually, even though I have no idea what a Baja Blast tastes like. No clue.
I'd probably be more prone to drink the Mountain Dew if there was tequila in it. I will admit that.
That is very true there. So at the Cheez-It Bowl, Brent.
Yes.
They had a Cheez-It Bowl hot tub.
Okay.
With on the side saying, feeling the Cheez-Its. And this was like a legitimate hot tub. It has now hit eBay.
Oh, okay.
The 2024 Cheez-It Citrus Bowl hot tub, with parentheses used /as is, has now been put on eBay. There are currently 14 bids. I'm sure there's more bids because this was posted a couple hours ago. But at the time of this posting, there was 14 bids. You can now buy the Cheez-It Bowl, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl hot tub for $1,025. Or at least that's where the current bid's at.
How much does a normal hot tub cost?
I don't know, but probably around $1,000.
Yeah, so that's not that bad.
So if I got a regular hot tub around $1,000, I'd much rather want to get the Cheez-It Bowl hot tub.
Well, yeah, because it's Cheez-Its.
Now, if the Cheez-It Bowl hot tub was filled with Cheez-Its, hell yeah.
I'd do that too. Okay, Rich McGuire on YouTube chat says Baja Blast tastes like a margarita with no tequila. Gross. But okay, thanks, Rich. Now I know.
Oh, God. Disgusting.
Yeah, that's never going to get me like, oh, yeah. It's like, hey, what's it taste like? Oh, it tastes like non-alcoholic beer. Like, no,
yeah,
I'll pass.
No, I'm good with that. Like, when you get a margarita and they give you the sweet and sour mix and it's like way too much sweet and sour, but it's like the light lime green sweet and sour, that's when you know, like, this is not going to be a good margarita. It's probably going to taste very sugary and it's probably going to be very disgusting. No, I'm good. But yeah, the Cheez-It Bowl is on sale right now on eBay for over $1,000 if you want it. I'm sure the price has gone up, but that'd be an interesting one to go buy. Like, what'd you get, honey? I bought a hot tub. Oh, cool. What kind of hot tub? I bought the Cheez-It Bowl hot tub. Yeah, I don't know if that conversation would go well after that. Like, after that, it would be downhill. You did what?
Are they going to auction off the oven that cooked/murdered the Pop-Tart mascot? I'd buy that.
Does it come with Pop-Tarts?
I don't care.
That is true. That is very true.
This is where Mr. Pop-Tart met his demise.
Yes, this is where we killed off
Poppy or whatever.
Poppy the Pop-Tart, the greatest mascot in the history of bowls. All right. Want to thank everybody today. Rest in peace, Poppy the Pop-Tart. Want to thank everybody today. Want to thank you guys out there for listening, for watching on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Jon and Jim 760. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Jon and Jim. Thanks to Brent. John, he will be back tomorrow for the first official Jon and Jim show of 2024. Stay right here on San Diego Sports 760. Pregame coming up at 6:40, 7:40 tip-off right here on San Diego Sports 760. Okay, good night.